On today's episode, we have another episode of Ask Me Anything. I, Coach G, have no idea what's about to happen, but that's exciting. Dallas has the questions queued up. Hopefully, I've got some great answers. Tune in to find out what happens on this episode of the podcast.
Welcome to the CrossFit Edwardsville Community Podcast, where we hear and learn from our coaches, CrossFitters, and Glen Ed community leaders. Now, here are your hosts, Dallas and Greg.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the CrossFit Edwardsville Community Podcast. I'm your co-host, Dallas Amston. I'm coming at you from Sunnyside if you're watching the video version. I'm hanging out on my porch today because it's a beautiful spring day.
Amazing.
But with me, as always, Coach G. G-Scale, how you doing, brother?
I'm good. I'm hanging out adjacent to my porch right here.
That's true. I can see the light coming in, but I'm like having to bathe in it. It's that kind of day for me. So
it's amazing. Yeah.
So I'm excited to have this conversation again. It is the Coach Ask G Anything, the Ask Me Anything, Ask G Scale Anything. And
AGA.
There you go, the AGA instead of the AMA. Everybody listening, he has no idea what's about to come at him. But we just want to learn. G, my hope is to maybe learn a little bit more about you and to maybe get a story or two out of you. So last time, in the last Ask Me Anything, we kind of talked a little bit about the history of you. So here, and some of your core values and things like that. Here's a straight up one. You just told me that you have been doing CrossFit as of May 1st. It was your, how many years?
15 year
15
anniversary.
years anniversary of doing CrossFit as of May 1st. So you are now entering into your 16th year of this. I'm going to flat out ask you, what is to this day the most difficult exercise for you still?
The most exercise or workout?
No. Just like a technique, the most difficult exercise, movement, rep, etc. What's the most difficult one for you? Or when you see it on the board, you're kind of like, I know you don't think, crap, but you think, those.
Well, I have an answer. And I hope it's not an anticlimactic answer, but so God didn't make me with a whole lot of concentric strength. Like if I'm starting from a very static position, I'm not great at moving a heavy weight from a starting static position. So if it's like a super heavy single deadlift or bench presses, those two movements for me, I'm not amazing at those movements. Am I strong on them? Yeah. Compared to like any average gym goer, I'm going to do just fine. But here in CrossFit world, there are so many dudes that can run circles around me, especially with the bench press. It's probably like on bench, 60% of the dudes in the gym outlift me on that. I'm just not super amazing on bench press. The good news is you can still build some pretty great chest muscle not doing bench presses, doing all kinds of other exercises.
Okay. So is there so then you asked kind of another question on that, which was this is a question we ask our guests all the time when they're on the podcast, which is, of all the workouts you've logged, what's one of the highlight ones for you that when you see it coming up, you get excited about doing it?
If you'd asked me that question 5-6 years ago, I think my answer would be different. My absolute favorite workouts are the ones that are super heavy, super high skill, super low volume. So have you ever heard of the workout known as King Kong?
I don't know that one. No, what is for me as well as everyone else? What is that one?
This is a real throwback. This is reaching way back into CrossFit history. In the early days of CrossFit, there was a CrossFit workout known as King Kong.
Yeah.
Super heavy, super high skill, super low volume. And the workout is as follows. It's 3 rounds for time.
Okay.
I want to be sure I get this right. It's 1 deadlift, 500 pounds, 2 ring muscle ups, 3 handstand push-ups, 4 squat cleans with the bar loaded to 250 pounds. 3 rounds for time.
Yep, I'm looking at that one. It is a benchmark WOD. Again, I'm going to read those off for everybody because they're kind of insane. If it loads. So everybody was listening to this going, all right, so it's 3 rounds, 4 time, 1 deadlift. Actually, standard RX is 455.
I stand corrected. 455.
455 for men, 320 for women. Then 2 muscle ups, 3 squat cleans at 250 for men,
Okay,
175.
yes.
Yep. 3 squat cleans at 250 for men, 175 for women, and then 4 handstand push-ups. So it's a 1, 2, 3, 4 in a round. So 1 deadlift, 2 muscle ups, 3 squat cleans, 4 handstand push-ups. I can
that
see
style. That style of workout is my absolute favorite. Super heavy, super high scale, super low volume. Now, to be very clear, I have never done that workout as written. My deadlift, my squat clean, well, I've deadlifted low 4s and I've squat cleaned 300 pounds.
Okay.
I've never done that workout exactly as written. I could do the gymnastics as written. Another workout that falls neatly into this category is the workout known as Amanda. Amanda was named after a CrossFitter who died of cancer, and it's 975, 9 ring muscle ups, 9 squat snatches at 135, 7755. Super high skill, heavy, super low volume. Love those workouts. Understand that they're not necessarily the workouts that play to my strengths the best, but I just
but you love a challenge like that.
I love a challenge like that. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. It's funny because I would have thought the opposite girl WOD from King Kong would have been like the Faye Dunaway or something like that. I would have anyway, old movie reference. So all right, so those are ones that you love. What about the one that has been the most it's the most grueling on you? It's the one where it leaves you in a pile of sweat on the floor going, I remember, Glassman years ago saying, what is the reason he names the WODs names them girl WODs is because, and you know this story as well, right?
Yeah.
You want to say it?
Yeah. So the reason he names certain workouts after girls is that it could only be a female that could leave you laid out on your back, completely out of it, wondering what the hell just happened.
Yeah. So sexist language aside, we do appreciate that. But the question is, which girl WODs have left you like you just went through a storm of a relationship?
Fran is my least favorite workout of all time.
All right, and for people listening, talk them through that one. What's the rep scheme on that?
21 thrusters, 21 pull-ups, 15 thrusters, 15 pull-ups, 9 and 9. It's short, it's fast, it's savage, it's brutal. It's actually not heavy, or like the movements are not necessarily extremely difficult. It's just the combination of them is an extremely it'll knock anybody onto their bottom.
I've always liked the 21, 15, 9 rep schemes. I've always there's something about that mentally. They're easy to break up if you can't do them all unbroken.
Right.
Like you can think through, okay, if I'm going to have to break this up twice, or what's the rep scheme going to be? So that's kind of a easy math. As you know, CrossFit's hard, math is harder for most of us. But that's an easy rep scheme for me to wrap my brain around. So the rep scheme isn't the thing that bugs me on that. I don't have the skill. I mean, in the time cap to do it RX.
Sure.
But why does that one do that to you?
I've done that workout so many times, so many different variations of it, that I know the only way that I'm going to do the workout faster is if I just am more willing to dig deep and suffer. And that's not an exciting prospect for a workout. But the hardest workouts, the absolute hardest workouts I've ever done, are not actually named benchmark workouts. They're EMOMs, every minute on the minute style workouts.
Okay.
Where you have to complete a certain task every minute on the minute.
Yeah.
And what happens is, as you fatigue, your rest time becomes less and less and less, and the fight becomes more and more psychological. Now, for the same reason that those workouts are difficult, they're also the most character building in many ways the most rewarding because it really, really pushes you to your limits.
Yeah.
But yet, EMOM workouts, the more you know, the deeper you get into CrossFit, the more you recognize that EMOMs can be absolutely the most brutal experiences.
Yeah.
You want one of the hardest workouts possible. A well-designed EMOM is the hardest workout possible, I think.
Yeah, I can see that. I know the feeling of looking up, going like, I'm not even going to finish this before the top of the minute. So I'm going to get zero rest here before I pick up that jump rope or before I get back on that barbell or whatever it is, or God forbid, the assault bike. So yeah, I know that feeling. I know that feeling well. All right. So shifting away from the CrossFit thing, but maybe not. Maybe, let's learn a little bit more about G the man. All right. Is that cool?
Sure.
So you've been an entrepreneur for 20 years now?
20 years.
Yeah, 20 years now. As an entrepreneur, share with us your biggest win, like that big, like, man, this is a hang my hat on this moment sort of memory as an entrepreneur.
I don't know if it's a single event or moment as much as it is a skill set that I've developed. So it's really important that our audience knows I'm a complete and total introvert.
Yeah.
And I was homeschooled growing up, and we didn't really interact with others a whole lot. I had friends. Occasionally we would branch out and go to homeschooling events, but I spent a lot of my youth completely on my own, reading books, total bookworm. And as I fast forward to now, I feel like the way that being an entrepreneur, being in business for yourself, pushes you to develop skills that you have to develop in order to succeed and thrive.
100%.
And for me, the skill of public speaking, maybe the skill of selling, where having a high degree of emotional intelligence, a high degree of understanding of human psychology, that is, I think, what I'm maybe the most proud of, because it's the most foreign, the most alien, the thing that is the furthest cry from what I was when I was a teenager. I didn't have any of those skills whatsoever. I was terrified of human interaction, terrible social anxiety. Public speaking was out of the question. Even going into a room where maybe I knew a bunch of people, but this crippling fear that I can't hold a conversation because I couldn't. I did not have that skill. I had to learn it. It's what's crazy is how long it took. I remember when I went to grad school back in 2008, even then I didn't really have those skills. That was where I really started. I started pushing myself to develop those things. I started working on public speaking, going to Toastmasters, intentionally trying to develop people skills.
Boy, if only you had known me before you went to Toastmasters, G.
No, you'd have fixed me up in a hurry.
I would have said, don't waste your time on Toastmasters. Let me teach you real techniques of communication and persuasion.
You could have fixed my broke ass skill set way faster, Dallas. Where were you 20 years ago?
Yeah, we don't even need to talk about that. I was just getting married. That's what I was at that point. Well, that's cool. That's really I think that's a really insightful thing to think about, as far as much like in CrossFit, right? We're constantly developing and honing skills. We're trying to get a little bit more mobile in the way that we move and in the way that we think in our world. So I think that's a really powerful insight that you have there. So share with me then, like, the biggest fail, like the which we know as entrepreneurs, we know failure is an opportunity to learn. But what was that hand, palm to face moment where you're like, I should have known better, or gosh, this was a big fail? And almost like, don't beat yourself up. Think of it like not a highlight reel, but a blooper reel. What was that funny moment for you?
I don't know if there's a blooper reel. I've screwed up.
Oh, really? Then you haven't been doing it long enough, because I can give you some bloopers.
Well, let me put it this way. Maybe it's not, there aren't like hilarious things that come to mind. I've screwed up every single thing, every single way. Hired completely the wrong people for jobs. My wife was like, you should not trust this person. This person is bad news. I'm like, no, I got a good feeling about this one. Completely disregarding her female intuition, only to find out like that the person that we hired was completely not the person that I thought they were.
Sure.
We've made that mistake bunches of times. I've crashed and burned on like selling opportunities more times than I can count.
Yeah.
Here's one. Actually,
we've all crashed and burned on selling opportunities.
Oh, like tremendous.
I literally looked at somebody one time I looked at them and I go, hey, we both know this isn't going to happen. Would you like me to continue, or should we just shake hands and I leave? That literally occurred.
So here's one, and I am like super not proud of this, but this was at the time just a super catastrophic PR fail.
Yeah.
So in the very last year that we ever hosted the fittest team in the Metro East competition, the FTME, which is a 3-person team competition that we had here at CrossFit Edwardsville, we were drawing the best, the most amazing athletes from all around the area to come and compete this event, teams of 3. And we had the scaled dudes, we had the RX dudes, we had the scaled females, the RX females, and we were the first to feature the women, the RX females, as the main act. They were the stars. In my mind, I still feel today like the RX females are truly the most impressive in CrossFit, because what they can do is further outside the norm compared to regular gals than having a lot of amazing guys. So I always had the guys be the opening act for the girls, and the women's RX was the stars of the show. And that always landed really, really well. The trouble with women's RX is that they are the rarest of all birds.
Sure.
There are not a whole lot of RX females out there. Lots and lots. And by the way, if you're not familiar with the CrossFit terminology, RX is the intermediate to, depending on how you look at it, elite level of CrossFitters. RX men, high level CrossFitters. RX men, high level female CrossFitters. There are far fewer RX females than RX men.
Yeah.
So I remember there was like one year where there was like maybe 4.
Yeah.
The last year, the one in question, 4, maybe 5 women's RX teams. Very small division, 15 total signups. By comparison, there's like 60 plus men that were RX men that signed up. So it's this many dudes paying to compete in the event, this many females paying to compete in the event. And I made the decision that the prize payouts were going to be different for the men's division and the women's division. So and everybody knew there's a total prize purse of so many thousands of dollars going to be paid out to the winners of the event. I believe that the assumption was that it was going to be the same payouts for the guys and the gals. But in my mind at that time, there were this many guys that had paid to be in the event. So the payout should be bigger on the men's side.
The pool was bigger to draw
from. The pool was bigger.
And
on the women's side, there were fewer girls. So the payout.
Chauvinist.
The big prize check for the guys was, I don't remember the amount. It was this much money for the men's winning team. And it was this much money for the women's winning team. And the women were not even off the podium before the PR debacle had begun.
Oh, yeah.
It was a shit show, dude. It was like, I was getting so much hate from so many angles.
Sure.
They're like, how could you do this? I'm like, literally what we paid out to the girls was 3 times what all of them paid in combined.
Yeah.
Like, that was my rationalization, my justification. But like, nobody was seeing eye to eye with me about that. Looking back, I get it. They were right. I was wrong.
Right.
But at the time, wow, PR fail.
Yeah.
Now, I tried to rectify the situation and do right by them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, I want to make up the difference. I'm going to cut you guys a check. You're going to get paid the same as the guys. I want to make this right.
Right.
They took that, but still the PR damage was done. Like,
Yeah.
they were not okay with me at all. They were all absolutely furious at me.
Sure.
And probably some of them probably still are to this day.
Well, we'll ask her. No. Oh my gosh, yeah, no, that's definitely a fail. But sometimes when you lose those PR battles, it's really hard getting the market share back. I'm not referencing anything right now, by the way, everybody. So
yeah, I've
all right,
screwed that all the way up.
that's
and
a
I
big
own
one.
it. I
Yeah,
own
no,
it.
and you own it. That's good, man. All right, so a couple of quick hits for you.
Sure.
Favorite movie?
Terminator 2, Judgment Day. Easiest
All right.
question you've asked me.
All right, favorite book? Favorite nonfiction and favorite fiction?
Favorite fiction, I'll say The Bourne Identity by Robert Ludlum.
Okay, all right.
Favorite nonfiction is harder to answer because so many books have changed my life.
Yeah.
If I really thought about it, took a little extra time to think it through, I'd probably have a different answer. But the one that comes to mind first is The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss.
Yep. Well, I would think that would probably be it. You reference that one more than I hear you reference most. So obviously, marketing, sales, things like that are subjects you love to learn about. What is any non-business subject you like to learn about?
A non-business subject right now, gardening.
Okay.
And getting skills at firearms and hand-to-hand like combat.
Okay.
It was non-fitness, you said, right? Non-fitness.
We know from the last episode you said be harder to kill.
Be harder to kill.
Is
yeah.
kind of one of your main values and your motto. All right. So, quick question for you then. And you know this question. You know it because you ask it a lot. In the true spirit of Tim Ferriss, if you could get one message out to millions of people, or to put it another way, if you could have a billboard that all these people would see, what would be that motto, that slogan, that billboard to the world? What is Coach G, Greg Skelly's message to the world?
If you'd asked me this question a couple of years ago, 5 years ago, I think my answer would be different. Somebody once said, and it resonated with me, and to this day, I love this quote: nobody owes you anything.
Yeah.
Nobody owes you anything. When you really sit and think on that one, it changes how you approach all of life, and it changes how you treat people around you. If you believe your wife does not owe you anything, if you believe your boss does not owe you anything, you treat them differently. There's a level of respect and esteem and gratitude that comes through in your behavior that I think is life transforming. That's an important message. I think that the world, if fewer people had a sense of entitlement and more people had an overwhelming sense of gratitude for the insane amounts of opportunity and blessing we have in this incredible country. God bless America, best country on the planet. That'd be my answer 5 years ago. But I think that asking me right here today, I think there's an even more important message. And I think that my message might just be Jesus, or Jesus saves. Because even more than a transformation of perspective, I think that most people, they need Jesus because he leads to that transformation in perspective. Like when he becomes your Lord and Savior and the leader of your life, all that stuff about nobody owes you anything falls into place. You recognize God does not owe me anything. My parents don't owe me anything. The schools don't owe me anything. The government doesn't owe me anything. It leads to a level of, I don't know, it's a different perspective. And the Lord, best thing ever happened to me was accepting Jesus as my Savior.
Yeah.
Changed as a person who I am, made me a better person, made me better at life.
Okay. I love it. That's awesome. G, I think Ask G Anything, AGA round 2 is pretty good. I've still got more questions, but we're going to stop it on this one. We're going to stop it here for now. Thank you for answering and being open, and thanks for sharing obviously there was some fun moments in there. So thank you for that.
Awesome, man. Hey, thanks for joining me today.
Of course, everybody, if you want to connect with us more, you can find us on all the socials at CrossFit Edwardsville. You can also go to CrossFitEdwardsville.com when you're ready to have a conversation with G or one of the team members on how to look better, feel better, and perform better in your life. Go ahead and click the book that no sweat conversation with us at CrossFitEdwardsville.com. G, again, thanks so much, my man. I'll let you sing us out.
Ladies and gentlemen, have yourselves a beautiful day and a championship day.